On today's 7th Circle Gaming, we're talking about the game Imperator Rome. To start off, as we always do here, with our disclaimer, the game was purchased some time ago, so it is something of a sunk cost. The game was played on normal difficulty. Only single-player content, as usual, will be covered in this analysis. No mods or DLC were utilized, and the game will be played in or be considered independent of other products from this publisher. Moving right along to our first section, Immersion. Player agency is a big part of the game. The game presents players with multiple options for nations to choose from. Each of these has something of an individualized, unique experience for the player to use. And the game is somewhat difficult. We would be remiss if we didn't mention that. There are numerous choices for players to make, and these further help cement the idea that each nation is unique from all the others. And statistics focus is another major part of this game when it comes to immersion. It presents the player with walls of statistics to examine or ignore. Every single one of the buttons almost on that screen that you're seeing, it brings up another menu with additional options and additional menus and additional menus for players to click on. So for that reason, we do believe that the game has earned a 7.5 out of 15. Very, very even. Now, moving on. Difficulty. The user interface, while attractive, can be quite confusing to players. The tutorial is very highly recommended if the player is interested in purchasing this game. Now, difficulty options are limited. Custom rule sets seem to not exist in this game, unlike other games. And the gameplay choices can adversely affect or positively affect the difficulty of the game, so that's something else to consider. And for all of these reasons, we do believe that the game has earned only a 4 out of 15 for difficulty. Moving right along to Lasting Appeal. Lasting Appeal. The game and how long the player is interested in playing it will rely heavily upon the player's interest in this particular period of history or in the particular faction that they're playing as. The complexity can overwhelm players, and there are certain aspects of the game that we would characterize as something of a whack-a-mole aspect, where things pop up and they pop up and the player reacts to them and the player reacts to them and then they go away and then they pop back up. And it can become somewhat frustrating. The game does seem to be best played in short spurts for maybe 10 minutes at a time. And for players who are looking for something that they can become immersed in for hours and hours on end, this does not seem to be that way. Unless, of course, again, the player has a significant interest in this particular period of history or the particular faction that they're playing as. So, with all that said, we now come to our final section, final analysis. In the final analysis, the game only earns, we believe, a 5.5 out of 15. Now, we will start with a highly subjective statement here, and we want it to be made very clear that this is very subjective. The game is one of the most visually attractive games I think I've ever played on this or any other platform. The game screens, in and of themselves, could almost be paintings. They are absolutely gorgeous to look at. On the other hand, not being subjective, the game can easily become overwhelming. Again, tutorials are highly suggested for this game. And player interest in the time period is helpful. There is some DLC content available in that does support mods to a limited extent, but this not being the most recent or the most popular of the games from this particular publisher, the number of mods available can be somewhat limited. So, all told, it does only earn that 5.5 or 5.5 out of 15. Moving right along, if you did watch this all the way through to the end, congratulations, thank you very much, and show your support for these sort of highly objective reviews on YouTube by leaving us a comment, a like, the usual things that every YouTuber asks you to do. Thanks, and that's all I've got for today.